Okay, I give up. One thing I've definitely been slacking on is the upkeep of my wood clamps. While I use the clamps for a lot of my projects, I've definitely neglected them. There's glue all over the bars and the glue won't come off anymore, not even with chisels. Do you find yourself in the same situation? Well, I have just the right solution to get the glue off very easily. Do you want to find out more? Follow me and lass uns anfangen.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Wood glue gone wild? This is how you tame it. This glue is not sticking around.
The project is simply built with a few items. You will need a 2x4, some 1.5-inch PVC pipe, something to drill a hole with, some end caps for the 1.5-inch PVC pipes, glue, vinegar, and a Scotch-Brite pad.
I gathered all the supplies needed and started by cutting the PVC pipe. I found using my miter saw gives me the cleanest cut. I cut the pipes the same length as the metal part of the clamps, so they can be fully submerged. Unfortunately, my clamps are so long that I cannot use the cut-off part since it's too short. I did not want to buy a fourth pipe, so I will build 3 that are long enough to submerge the clamp fully, and 1 that's just a few inches shy of that. I will just make it work once I get to the cleaning part. Besides, I only have 4 long clamps, all others are much shorter, so they will just work fine. In case you're wondering what exact pipe I'm using, this is a PVC Schedule 40 Charlotte pipe 1.5 inches and is 10 foot long. I got it from Home Depot for just under $13. Make sure you get a matching 1.5-inch end caps for the pipe. Also get an additional end cap for the top so you can close off the pipes later for storage. Once the pipes were cut to length, I continued with the 2x4s. The pieces will be used to build a frame that holds the pipes upright. So I need 4 side pieces and 2 pieces for the legs. It's been so frustrating to find nice pieces of lumber at a hardware store. Occasionally I get my lumber at specialty stores that carry much better quality, but I do try to keep projects simple and relatable by purchasing materials from stores that everyone has access to. Of course, for hardware purchases I do go to local specialty stores, since the hardware stores don't have much choice on that. Where do you like to buy your lumber? To drill the holes, I use the hole saw that's just a bit wider than the pipe itself, so it will slide in easily. I drilled 4 holes on the top and then matched the hole placement to the bottom piece. The bottom piece does not need cut-through holes, it would just need a round groove. So the bottom of the pipe can be placed into it and held in place. So if you have a CNC and like to use it, that would be a nice job for it. Also, you could use a hand router to cut the grooves out. Or just keep it simple the way I did it, and use the same hole saw you just used to cut the top holes. Since I will glue end caps on it, the pipe will sit nicely in the holes and not slide through. Before I build the rest of the frame to hold the pipes in place, I wanted to glue the end caps on, since the glue will need some time to dry. Follow the instructions of the glue you're using. I'm just using some Gorilla Glue. I'm not a glue expert, but I was a bit concerned about what glue to use for the project, because the pipes will hold the vinegar to remove the glue from the clamps, but over time I don't want to risk dissolving the glue that holds the end caps in place. I looked into it and I only found that vinegar will soften but never dissolve the glue. Now it's been a few weeks that I finished this build and I had no issues yet with the vinegar leaking out. Also, others before me have built similar projects and not have any issues with the vinegar ever leaking. What do you think? Will it become an issue over time? I do intend to store the vinegar in the pipes for longer periods of time. Will I be able to do this? To keep the wood from splitting, I made sure to pre-drill all the holes. And then I used some exterior grade screws to screw it all together. Looking at the hole placement, I wish I would have just went with the CNC machine, since one of the holes is not in line and it really bugs me now. My OCD is kicking in, but it's not gonna affect how it works. Once the frame was assembled, I wanted to slide the pipes through the holes. But I guess I wasn't thinking during assembly. The holes are not big enough to slide the pipes through from the top, and sliding them in from the bottom in an angle doesn't work neither. So I had to take the top off again to be able to slide the pipes through the holes. And those pipes are not behaving very well. So what did we learn? Insert the pipes before you attach the top, and maybe if you have a second person, have them hold the pipes in place. That would be a great thing. I mean, you could also just widen the top holes so they are large enough to slide the end caps through. But then you need another size hole saw. Or you could just glue on the end caps after you slide the pipes through the holes. Well, so many ways to tackle this. Make your own choice of what way you like best. Either way, once I had the pipes in place, it was time to fill them with vinegar. I inserted the clamps into the pipes before I filled them with vinegar to make sure to not overfill them and have the vinegar pour all over the floor. You want to fill in the vinegar to the top of the rim. so you can reach all the wood glue. And then you wait about an hour to an hour and a half for the vinegar to do its job and soften the glue so you can easily remove it after. While I was waiting, I found a few other tools in the workshop that needed some rust removal. So I cut off the bottom of the vinegar bottle to make it a bowl and add the tools into it. And then it was time to take out the clamps to see how they're doing. I used an old towel to cover my workbench and then used a Scotch Brite pad to scrape off the softened wood glue. And wow, it totally works! The glue is so soft that it comes right off without much effort at all. This looks pretty nice, but to take off the rest of the discoloration, I used a wire brush with a little bit more vinegar to scrape over the spots that the vinegar did not fully take off yet. Here you can see another close-up of how soft the vinegar made the wood glue. It literally comes right off. This wood glue has been on this clamp for like the past year and it just built up more and more layers over time. It is so satisfying to see it come off. I used a chisel to help me take off the glue a little bit faster. It's really not needed, but it did help. I finished the clamps with a clean rag and wiped off any residue. Before I get to the last step on how to finish the clamps to protect them, I looked to see if the tools that I added to the vinegar bath were ready to clean as well. I used these old cheap chisels mainly to clean off glue from wood during projects, so they had glue all over them that was not able to simply remove anymore using another chisel. The glue was hard as stone and did not budge. And the vinegar made it so soft it slid right off. Also, all the rust that the chisels had came off with it. Wow, they almost look as good as new. Now I can sharpen them again. Let's see how the other tools came out. This one I had forgotten outside and found it after a few days of rain laying in the grass. Needless to say, it was completely rusted and the wheel to adjust the tool did not move anymore. The wire brush I'm using I got from Amazon. Wire brushes used to be one of those things that I get from the dollar store, but the dollar stores are not $1 anymore. I found a 6-pack on Amazon that I thought was a great deal. I will put a link in the description below. And look how this came out. Just beautiful. All the rust is gone. To protect the clamps from rust and wood glue, I rubbed on a layer of paste wax. I used a lint-free cloth to rub it on. The paste wax will not be the end of all the wood glue just not sticking to the clamp anymore. But as long as I keep a nice layer of the paste wax on it, it should make it easier to remove. It definitely makes the sliding process much easier. Those clamps work like new again. I should have done this way sooner. I will make it a point to clean the clamps at least every 6 months or so. For now, let's put the clamps back to their place on the French cleat wall. And we are fertig! Please join my Patreon if you can. This helps me create more YouTube videos. See you next Friday. Tschüss!